Estate Show. We appreciate you joining us here today. Hope your weekend is starting off well. It is March the 5th. We're already into March. It's raining here in Minnesota this morning, and we're happy to be here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We're live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. On all the social media channels, whether you're joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We do appreciate you joining us here today. We've got a fun show. Show's hosted again by Mike Overson, Illuminate Home Loans. Scott Wolmering is with the We team of RE/MAX Advantage Plus, and I'm Ryan O'Neill with the Minnesota Real Estate team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus. A lot to talk about today with the current market, and your comments are always welcome. Here, good morning. We got some people already chiming in on our live streams. You're welcome to comment, or again, you can call us or text us at 612-294-6949. 612-294-6949. Scott Wolmering, good to see you there, bud. Should be a fun show today.
Yeah, good to be here again. Welcome back, everybody, or if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Like Ryan said, we're going to talk everything real estate and mortgage related as it relates to the Twin Cities market, which is just crazy. And if you turn the news on or you've got anybody in the business or you're a realtor yourself, you know how nuts it is. So we're going to talk about how to navigate it a little bit and get your people a house if you're working with a buyer, and how to position your sellers in the best way to get the maximum for them. And we're going to go live on air here in probably about 20 seconds.
Yeah, very, very quick. Got to welcome on a couple friends. Troy Hill, outstanding agent with the Minnesota Real Estate team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus, your radio debut.
Yes, thanks for having me here. I'm excited.
Welcome. And Brian Del Terzo, Credit Life.
Yes,
Good
sir.
to see you, buddy.
Glad to be here.
Here we go. We're going live on air. Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Good morning and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We appreciate you joining us. Hope the weekend is starting off well. It's March the 5th, 2022, and we are live here at Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130, every Saturday morning for the Minnesota Real Estate Show from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., taking your questions, comments, thoughts. The show is hosted by Mike Overson of Illuminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmering of the We team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus, and I'm Ryan O'Neill with the Minnesota Real Estate team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus. Throughout the show, welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. We've got a great show today, a lot to talk about in our current market in the Twin Cities. And Scott, good to see you there, bud.
Yeah, good to be here. Welcome, everybody, from the radio and Facebook. If it's the first time you're catching the show, thank you. And we're live and local, in Golden Valley here till the top of the hour. Like Ryan said, love your phone calls, love your interaction during the show. 612-294-6949. You can call in and go on live, or you can text us at that number, and we will handle your questions. Anybody out there that is kind of run into a multiple offer situation, if you're a buyer or maybe you're an agent that's listening to the show, maybe shoot us just a text or on Facebook, or let us know kind of what you're running into out there. I saw a posting on Facebook that I thought was pretty cool. It was an agent that had taken multiple offers. There were 22 offers on it. And to let all the other agents know what had happened, she kind of gave a synopsis of what she ran into. So appreciate everybody's offer. We did go with somebody, they've already been informed. Out of the 20 offers, 15 were 20% down conventional, 3 were, 10% conventional, 2 were FHA, 4 of them waived their inspection, et cetera, et cetera. I thought it was a kind of a nice thing, because it does let you know what you're running into out there.
Yeah.
Are you losing by, and she also said there were $32,000 over to $94,000 over. So it kind of gave you your range.
This past week, I was out in Las Vegas. So RE/MAX every year does an annual worldwide convention for a lot of the agents. And it was really interesting. One of the speakers that was out there is a gentleman by the name of Brian Buffini, who very well loved. He's an Irishman coach. And I thought it was great. I'm going to share some of the information that he shared with everyone. but I thought he made an interesting point. He talked about kind of the big question is, he said, do we have an inventory problem? And naturally, the natural reaction is, of course, yeah, absolutely we do. I mean, we're going to talk about the numbers here in a second. But again, what he shared, Scott, is last year. So again, the very, very difficult inventory year, historically, probably the most difficult.
Yeah.
There were the highest number of actual sales, of closed sales. And so his point was, absolutely, there is a MLS listed inventory problem, but overall, there are home sellers out there. And so part of his point is what is your agent doing to actually find you a property? And that's part of the reason why, again, you've always done so well. While Troy's here today talking about some ideas and strategies. And so I just thought it was an interesting way to look at things instead of just saying, hey, there's no inventory, the sky is falling. It was a good assessment.
Well, and we've talked about on the show for the last 2 years. We don't have a new listing inventory problem. It's only off by 8-9% every week, which means that kind of the same amount of homes that are coming on the market when we're at 12, 13, 14,000 homes are coming on. They're just getting gobbled up right away. So it's like you've got the same amount roughly that you do in a balanced market, but they're just gone so quick. That's why the actual inventory number is not growing.
Right. Let's hey, it is first segment. We always like to talk a little bit about the market update and the numbers, just to share where things are at. After we do that, we are going to be diving deep, with Brian Del Terzo from Credit Life, also Troy Hill with the Minnesota Real Estate Team and Remax Advantage Plus. Interesting numbers here, Scott and Troy. New listings, again, this is all MLS listed inventory. New listings down 3% year over year. There are 1,057 new properties that came onto the market. Pending sales were down 11%, 913 pending sales, so almost the same as the number of new listings. And then the overall inventory of MLS listed properties down 19.2%. And Scott, this is the lowest number we've ever seen, 4,429. So it's slightly lower than last week at this time. But again, it does bring home an interesting point regarding MLS listed property and where we're at with that. Thoughts to share?
Well, the first number that sticks out to me is 1,050 new listings. That's only down 3%. But the pendings are eating those up. So the inventory level is staying stagnant or dropping even a little bit. I mean, from boots on the ground, Troy, I mean, you're running into this every day with your clients. I mean, 4,000 homes is crazy. And how does that translate into when you're writing offers for people?
I mean, it's hard because all the offers that you're writing, you've got other people that are they're beating you out right away. And you get some people they'll entertain highest and best, and you get other ones that they just don't want to deal with it and they just pick it. So if you weren't up there with your best foot forward in the beginning, you're losing out. Your client's got to start all over again.
That's right.
Interesting. One of the other stats, and Mike, scoot over a little bit, man, so we can see you on all the social channels here too. We got a lot of people joining us again, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. You want to see what Mike Overson looks like in person, check us out here. But thanks for being here, Mr. Mike Overson. Again, Luminate Home Loans. One of the things that Brian Buffini talked about, which is interesting, is he said last year, the average home buyer looked for 8 weeks, and guess the number of homes that they saw on average.
I would say 11.
8. That's interesting to me. That's a low number. I mean, that's super low.
Well, think about this.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this yesterday. So in all of Eden Prairie, so remove new construction, just existing properties from 0 to 4 million. You've got 16 to look at. And so that's in all of Eden Prairie. So, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're buying a $300,000 single, which doesn't exist in Eden Prairie, but $400,000 single family home or 4 million, that's it. And you can take that pretty much through every outer ring suburb.
Well, do you think that number is low? I mean, in my head, that number is low for 2 reasons. A, most of their quote unquote shopping is probably done online, right? So they've already probably thrown out all the ones that don't have, don't appeal to them in the pictures that they see online. And then you really don't have time to go look at 6-7 houses in a day and maybe even circle back to the one and think about it, make an offer a couple days later
No.
because it's gone at that point. So
Yeah.
it's just the market in general is just forcing them to make quicker decisions. So you probably have less time to look at
That's right.
fewer homes.
For sure.
Yeah, again, we've got a full house today. We got a fun discussion. Want to talk again to Mike Overson, Illuminate Home Loans, before the first break. This was just a kind of a short market update here in the Twin Cities. Got a lot of great comments coming in. Kareem, great show. Thank you, Megan. Good morning to you, Moo. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Again, whether you're joining us on any of the social media channels, we appreciate it. Mike, mortgage update here before the first segment. What are we seeing? Where are things at?
I actually quoted some rates in the high threes again this week with no discount points. And so this whole Russia-Ukraine thing has caused rates to come down a little bit. So inflation is still, I think, the main driver out there. Inflation wants to drive rates up. But anytime you get, any sort of, turmoil going on overseas, that can tend to have people pull money out of stocks because there's uncertainty there. And stocks are more volatile than bonds. And so then people will take their money out of stocks, put them in bonds, and that helps rates go down. So right now you kind of got inflation trying to push them up. You have this Russia-Ukraine thing trying to bring them down. Kind of, we'll see who wins here. It's kind of like, eating weight gainer and Dexatrim all at the same time. Which one's gonna
Ryan
win?
doesn't know what that is. He has no idea what that is. Say Quest cookie. He knows what a Quest cookie is.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go, Mike.
Yeah, gorging on Quest cookies and then taking, a fat burger on the side. It's a, who's going to win. So, but in general, if we look at the last week and a half, 2 weeks, rates have just slid down a little bit, which is kind of nice, because they went up so quick at the beginning of the year up until this point, and now we're trying to see them pull back a little bit, and so we're still seeing, like I said, rates at in the high threes again this week, which is nice.
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting time. We're already up against the first break here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show, and we appreciate you joining us. Again, the phone number is 612-294-6949. You can call us or text us. If you want to get your questions, comments, or thoughts, again, do we have an inventory problem? The short answer is yes, we do an MLS listed inventory problem, which is causing so much grief for all the buyers here in the Twin Cities and, of course, our fellow agents. However, perhaps we'll talk about some other strategies on how you can find homes for sale in the Twin Cities. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in. Parissa, good morning, everyone. The Hill family is listening. Thank you for joining us. Liz, good morning. Liz Knutson. Jared Havens, good morning. A lot of good folks tuning in. And Troy, you've had a busy start to the year, man. You've already got 5, 6, 7 sales?
Yeah, somewhere around there. They're coming in. I'm liking it. It's keeping me busy.
Yeah. How are you finding inventory for your clients?
I'm trying to get creative. I dig through some of the, for sale by owners, and I take a different approach. They got so many agents calling them every single day wanting to list, and once I realized I got yelled at a few times, I took a different approach. And instead, I call them and say, hey, I've got, someone interested in your house. I'm not trying to list your house. Would you offer a buyer compensation?
Sure.
If they say no, I have another approach where I ask some of my clients where I let them know, if I can get you something off the market, you're just going to be responsible for paying the 2.7 buyer fee.
Sure.
So that's one way. And another way I just kind of came across is going into some of these new developments with townhouses, and turns out some of them aren't listed yet. So you go and talk to the builder, and I got one I'm closing in a couple months on, and I have one that my client's picking between two today, where we just, go in, hey, do you have anything that, available that's not listed yet? And sure enough, yeah, we do. Here's the price. And then we end up with, no bidding war, no multiple offers. We submit their asking price, they sign it, and on to closing.
What do you think of that there, Scott?
I think
Sounds like a young version of you.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's very smart, and for everybody listening, I mean, that's what it takes in this market. You can sit on your hands waiting for listings to come on MLS till the end of the year
And complaining.
Yeah,
The market's so hard.
That's right.
Nothing's happening. Nothing's going on.
Yeah, you got to think outside the box. And I'm showing an off market one. Well, This is what's funny though. I'm showing an off market one today in Savage, and the agent sent me a text and just said, just feel free to go through anytime between 12 and 6 or 12 and 6 and be respectful of everybody else. So it's an off market one, but it sounds like there's 20 people going through it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is, and partly why. Again, that's why Troy. Troy's doing so well, helping so many clients. It's being a little bit creative, thinking outside the box, and staying kind of resilient with it. It's hard. I mean, let's face it. It's a really hard time to be an agent and to be a buyer right now. To keep losing. Any thoughts on that, Mike, Troy, Scott? Brian?
I think it's harder to be a buyer. I think that because yeah, it's the livelihood of an agent, but I think right now having an agent helping you is probably the most important thing, because the only thing I can relate this to, because thank baby Jesus, I'm not searching for a home right now, but I remember back when the foreclosures were happening, all the, you'd fall in love with this house, but you had to buy it from the bank, and there's all multiple offers, and you'd constantly miss out on all these opportunities. And that's hard for a family. They don't understand it. I just always tell people the right one's going to come along and you're going to get it. So don't be too heartbroken when you miss out. But seeing what agents can do to help you find properties you wouldn't otherwise see, that's money right there.
Here we go. We're going back live on air. Thanks for joining us on social media, wherever you're watching. We appreciate it. Hope your weekend's going well. Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back. Indeed, we got a few callers coming in. We got a few text messages coming in. We've got a call from Dan. Dan, thanks for calling the Minnesota Real Estate Show. How can we help? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
One second, Scott.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just for everybody on social media too. So the question was: is it wise to make the earnest money non-refundable? Oftentimes, and maybe he said, talk a little bit more about some of the multiple offer stuff we're seeing. Thanks for the call, by the way, Dan.
Yeah,
we appreciate that.
Appreciate it, Dan. Yeah. So the breakdown was on this home that had 22 offers on it, and I thought it was really good that the agent sent out to every one of the agents that did not get the offer a breakdown of what it was. So the offers were $32,000 to $94,000 over. Out of the 22, 4 waived their inspection. It was higher than that. 9 waived their inspection. 10 of them made their earnest money non-refundable. 4 of them bridged a appraisal gap, which means if for any reason the home didn't appraise, the buyer would bridge that gap. And so it was a nice breakdown. To answer Dan's question directly, in this market, I have not written an offer in the last year or this year where I have not made earnest money non-refundable. I've made it on every single one. And if you think about it logically, Troy, maybe you can chime in on this as well. Why would you make it refundable when the only way that you're going to back out is if you're going to back out? Because if you've written it and you're approved, in the old days it was just common. It made everything refundable based on qualifications and whatever. But in this market, and Mike, you can maybe chime in too, you're not going to get the house because if you got 20 offers on it, half of them are going to waive they're going to make it non-refundable. And if you're a seller, wouldn't you go like, well, wait a minute, if these guys are making it non-refundable, why would I go with somebody that wants their earnest money back? That would make me nervous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'd just to follow up on that. Maybe we can get some thoughts from you guys just to share some additional stats regarding multiple offers. Work with Alex Marcellet and her team, a professional advantage team. They help a lot of agents and buyers write offers. And she talked about this was the last week. So over the past week, inspections, Scott, Mike, were waived 43% of the time in fully accepted offers. So no inspections. They're pre-MLS or before they even hit the MLS, 10%.
Yeah.
10% of the sales that were accepted were done before they even hit MLS. There was 0%, if you can believe this, 0% of FHA offers that were accepted over the past week. 0. And again, they're writing a lot of deals. Average purchase to list price was 105% of the accepted offers on it. And then to Scott's point, the appraisal gap, 47, almost half of the offers, accepted offers, had appraisal gap coverage, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, the FHA number doesn't surprise me.
No, I mean, it's,
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
but it doesn't surprise me. It's so
No.
tough to get an FHA offer through. And the funny thing is that, you know, FHA is in seller's eyes, or at least seller's agent's eyes, you know, that's typically a program for, you know, lower credit scores and less qualified borrowers, stuff like that. I mean, the average FHA score, if I remember correctly, in the last like 2 years is like 706.
yeah, so it's good.
You know what I mean? So the credit scores are actually good on average for FHA. It's just, you know, the FHA just has that aura around it. And if you got a conventional offer versus FHA, I mean, it's just with how crazy it is right now, it's just, you have basically zero chance, and that number shows it.
Yeah, and I would just put on top of that, if you have an FHA buyer, it doesn't mean that it's impossible to get an offer done, but I would have a serious discussion with the flexibility of them getting out, getting out into the big lakes, getting out into the to the Northfields of the world, and wherever you're at in the Twin Cities, kind of getting out of that inner loop suburb and getting out a little bit further. I mean, it's probably not what they want, but it's the only way that you can not compete with 20, 30 offers.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, and this is where Mr. Del Terzo and his company come into play. What's it going to take to get you out of that FHA offer and improve for conventional?
Yeah.
A lot of people can actually go both ways, but the FHA offer loan might be a lower interest rate, might be lower mortgage insurance, depending on your credit score and other factors. So it's like, yeah, we can do conventional, but we got to pay a higher rate, and our mortgage insurance is more expensive. It's not as good of a financial play for them. But that's where you get Brian and Credit Life into play and say, okay, what is it going to take to get to here, and have them work with you to get to there. So now you can do conventional, and now the conventional is the better financial option for you too.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Brian?
Yeah. I mean, we talk about that a lot. The competitive offers are extremely important right now, and evident in the statistics you guys are providing. It really opens your eyes to how important it is to figure out, when is the right time to really start shopping. Because if you're going out there right now, sounds like with, just prepared with 5% down or to do an FHA loan, it's going to be a waste of everybody's time, it sounds like.
Well, and I'll tell you another thing on those statistics. Ryan knows I've got to be in my bonnet about this. So basically,
Turn his mic off.
So
now.
basically, 50% of people are guaranteeing an appraisal gap. 50% of the offers. I'm here to tell you right now, 50% of the buyers out there are not guaranteeing an appraisal gap. If that appraisal comes in $30,000 low, you got a problem. They're not going to come in with the money. I mean, I shouldn't say not all of them, but the majority of them are not going to come in. So it is something to look at in an offer for sure. But if your agent really wants to verify it, they need to make a call to the loan officer and say, okay, they're guaranteeing this appraisal. What kind of money are we talking about here? I mean, do they have an additional $100,000? Do they have an additional $200,000? What if we get a $50,000 low appraisal? Do they have that kind of money? Because it's a, agents are trying to represent their buyers, and they're pushing it as much as they can possibly push it. But when brass tacks comes down, I'm just here to tell you, you're going to run into an issue to get a $30,000 low appraisal.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So
And-
some of it's fluff. They're putting a little bit of fluff in there to make their offer sound better, but at the end of the day, they might not want to do it, or they can't.
Yeah. So the appraisal gap. So I've ran into this, right? So I've ran into low appraisals. We haven't had as many as I thought we would have up to this point, which is kind of nice. But we've definitely run into some. And so when you have a big down payment, conventional 20% down, right? Even if they don't have another dollar over the 20% down, if that appraisal comes in 10% under, well, now they're basically going to use half of that 20% down to bridge the gap, and they got the other 10% down then
That's
as
right.
down payment. So
Right.
now it's a 10% down payment instead of 20% down, but the money is there.
Yeah.
It's where you have a 5% down conventional and the appraisal comes in low. Do they have additional money on top of that? That's when the rubber hits the road there.
That's right.
Yeah, Brian Del Terzo, Credit Life, Jared Havens, your team is really doing an awesome job. One of the things, again, out at the annual RE/MAX convention they were talking about is also working with a really good, reputable, local credit company that can help people get in a position to purchase and do some of the things you're doing. That's one of the main reasons we work with you guys, and you're doing an awesome job. Thoughts to share for the group?
Oh, always thoughts to share, just like where to start. But I appreciate the way you said that because, what we do is unique in the way that we focus really on the way we say it, inspiring financial wellness, because there's so much about, what we do that just is out of habit or ignorance. We have the money. We're just not really taking care of where we spend it. We're not paying attention to how we use our credit cards. They're so convenient these days. A lot of people just run them up and pay them off. But all these things have little hidden impacts to your credit profile. And if you don't know those things, you can't really line it up the way you should in order to maximize your point potential and create the opportunity that you need in a market like this. So we focus on money, on how you spend your money, creating spending plans. We can help people with credit repair, aspects of things that are just out there dinging their credit profile that really aren't accurate or verifiable. And we love the work we do because we're really changing people's lives and creating more opportunity. And it's exciting to hear this stuff because there's a certain aspect of my expertise is not in real estate. Like, I'd like to hear more about people who are waiving the inspection, because to me as a consumer buying a house, that's a scary thing.
Right.
Very scary.
But I understand that you can waive an inspection but still have an inspection. You're just saying you're not going to withdraw your offer. You'll know what you've got to do when you get into that house. So it's not like you're saying
that's actually wrong.
You can't.
They're waiving the inspection.
They won't even.
They can have an inspection the day after closing if they want to find out what they're dealing with. But they're waiving the inspection.
So they can't even plan.
They can't even plan.
Oh.
Hey, one quick thought before the break. Again, we've got some questions coming in. Again, you're welcome to join us either way, 612-294-6949. Had a text question come in from the Big Swede. He says, what are your thoughts on the parade of homes? Do you guys participate? Do you participate?
Talking to me?
Do you participate, Scott?
Yeah, I participate.
Do you participate?
I participate. I go through a lot of the parade models in different price ranges just to see kind of what you're getting bang for your buck. Because in an entire year, you maybe have 3 or 4 new construction clients. It's not as many as you would think, and so but you still want to know what's going on. I mean, the cost of building has gone up so much. You're getting far less house now in new construction, and there are constraints on what they can build. I mean, if you're looking new construction right now and you're listening, you're talking about the end of this year or into next year to actually be able to close on your house.
Yeah. So again, from a participation standpoint, absolutely.
I get a participation award.
You do.
I do from the parade homes every year.
Yeah, especially as a young child growing up. Scott was one of those, you have the kids who do real well, and then Scott was kind of in the corner, and then they would, kind of give him the ribbon. And no, you know what? It is Troy, again, we're already at the halfway point of the show, but Troy Hill brought up some really good ideas of what he's doing from a new construction standpoint to help buyers find homes and get into properties. Maybe we can talk more about that. We've got a lot of folks watching on social media too. We appreciate you joining us, and please don't hesitate to comment anytime throughout the show. Second half of the show, we're going to be talking more with Brian Del Terzo from Credit Life, Troy Hill, Remax Advantage Plus, and we take your questions, comments, and thoughts. We're at the halfway point, and this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Fun show. Hey, quick questions for you guys. You guys ever seen the Zac Brown Band?
Yes.
Live?
Yeah, live.
No.
I've never
Not
seen them
live.
live, but I
No.
listen to their music.
Fun
Yeah.
show. So one of the band out in Vegas this week was Zac
They were
Brown
here?
Band. Totally fun.
Is that
Totally
the show
fun. A
you
lot of well-known
posted
songs.
online?
What's that?
Was that the show that you posted on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, multiple live streams.
Yeah.
I think you're having a good time.
Yeah, it was fun. Fun. A lot of stuff. You've never seen them. It was a really great show. Country. I mean, there's probably 5-6 songs like everybody knows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Type of deal. But what do you think, guys? Second half of the show. What should we hit there, Mike?
So I wanted to get your thoughts on coming soon. You got a buyer that's going to make an offer before it hits, and then you put the deadline on it to the seller. Does it work? Does it not work? Advantages, disadvantages. Like in my head, it's like now you're kind of almost flipping the script on the seller at that point, but maybe you shoot yourself in the foot too. So I'd be curious to see what you guys think about that.
In my opinion on it, and I've said this multiple times, is in this market, I'm not taking any offer pre going on the market unless every single contingency is removed. Earnest money is non-refundable. Obviously there's no inspection. There has to be an appraisal gap. There's no way out. And then at that point, you're writing $50,000 over list price, before it goes on the market.
Yeah.
It's always the seller's choice. I'm still at that point, depending on the price range of the house, going to say I would probably still take it to market, but it's 50 grand over and you're done. It's legit. There's no way out of it.
Yeah.
Big earnest money, bigger, it would have to be an extremely, extremely strong offer before it goes on the market. Troy?
I agree because they could be used as a loophole, and I've actually done it.
Yeah.
I've made the blind offer, but with the inspection contingency, because then now they
You gotta
have
weigh
to
out.
put it active to be able to get in there for that inspection. And my buyer went with the inspector, got to see the house. So it's if they have anything tied to it, it's just a loophole of getting in ahead of time.
That's right.
But otherwise, if it's like you said, if they have a really high amount over, there's no inspection, there's nothing, it's a slam dunk. Here's the deal, we're gonna close. Then I'll talk to my seller about considering it. But
Yeah,
other
well,
than
here's an interesting scenario as I'm thinking of what I would actually suggest to my sellers to take. So you have a house on for 600 grand, and they write $100,000 over cash, no inspection, no anything. So now you don't have an appraisal. So even if you get a low appraisal, there's no way out. That's one where you might be like, okay, look, it's you really literally have there's no issue that can possibly come up here.
Right.
In a situation like that, I would probably say, take a peek at it.
It's gotta be seller motivated though too, right? If they're in a hurry to sell, that's a good opportunity.
Well, but it doesn't matter in this market.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Average time on market,
It's so
I
fast
think
anyway.
is 16 days, but that's because new construction's in there. It's probably 3 days.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. Once
16
they go
minutes.
up, they're getting offers
Yeah.
the first few
First-
hours
yeah,
coming
first
in
day.
or first day.
And in the inventory, the amount of inventory we're talking about that's lower, that's why this is happening so fast.
That's
And
right.
What is
So
that
43,
little bit of,
so 4,300 homes is on the market.
and what is it usually?
A balanced market,
6,000?
a balanced market is 19,000.
Shit.
Equal amount of buyers, equal amount of sellers. So we're at
Yeah.
4,300.
What's this 20% down less than the regular that you're saying? That's not 20, that's 20% of. You're saying it's 20% on the for sale right now? than what's
Year over
usually?
year.
Oh, year over
Oh,
year.
yeah,
It's been
from
year over year.
last-
So
from
last
last year.
year at this time.
Oh, it's
there was
just been,
20%
it's just been
last
on
year.
a slow decline for
Yeah.
how many years then?
Slow decline.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Slow
think
decline.
3 years ago we were at like 11,000. Then we dropped down to I think 7,800 was our lowest last year, something like that. And now we're at 4,300.
And you have to remember again, everyone, that those are the MLS listed numbers shared by all
Oh, God.
brokers.
There's like-
We
The
hit
other-
20 wins?
The other thing to think about too is, and we're coming, or maybe we can talk live on the show, is each of the companies has their own internal inventory as well too.
That's right.
Maybe we can talk about that a little bit. And we've got some credit questions that have come in here too. We're going to talk with Brian about. So we're going live on air.
Brian.
Twin Cities News Talk.
I remember when we hit 10,000 listens for the first time.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back, folks. Mike Dubs, I got to ask you, my friend from K102, you are a concert goer. Have you seen the Zach Brown band in concert? Fun. Isn't it a fun show? Yeah, super fun show. Just a great group of guys. A lot of fun. Saw them. They were out at the annual Remax convention out in Las Vegas. The concert that was there. Ton of fun. Ton of activity out there. And again, Brian, we've had a couple credit questions come in. Maybe just talk a little bit about the process for people. If credit is not good, it's hard to reach out to somebody to say, help me. But what's the process?
Well, it shouldn't. Well, first of all, it shouldn't be hard. We've all been through stuff, and really, this is credit and managing our money is something not taught. We could discuss whether that's intentional or not, but that's a long conversation. So, with respect to what we do specifically, since a lot of people that come to us have already been denied for something or paying ridiculously high interest in an automobile or something like that, we like to take a look at the credit profile and try and identify what some of the major issues from that regard are, because there's usually a tie between credit issues and money issues. It goes hand in hand, but obviously the money issues is what typically leads to the credit issues. But then once we identify those things, it's something that's really outside of your control. So we can go through a process of investigating the validity of certain items and trying to clean up certain areas, making sure that names and addresses, socials, phone numbers, all these stuff are accurate, because you want your profile to be as clean as possible to avoid what we call like a split pin or mixed profiles, where you end up with someone else's garbage in your, which we don't want. But then we're looking at what you're doing with your money, what you're spending it on, putting it through a plan using Money Mastery to help you understand how much you have, where all your money is going. And what people often find is just, well, look at it this way. 10, 15 years ago, you had to make a trip to the mall, literally like get up off your butt and go and shop to spend it. Now you can be searching Facebook to talk to a friend and they're going to market something that you were just maybe talking to someone about a minute ago.
Mhm.
I don't know, but we are at the whim of really sophisticated marketing right now. So it is super easy for people to get us to spend our money. So without a plan, I think I heard a statistic. It's like 60% of people are living paycheck to paycheck right now, because there's no way without a plan to avoid spending the money. Because if you've been wanting a drone, you're going to get marketed a drone. If you've been wanting new clothes, they're going to market you new clothes. Anything you want is out there to get you to spend it, and you don't have to get off your butt to spend your money anymore. So it's really about mindful spending, understanding your credit, how to maximize point potential with the way you manage your credit cards and the type of credit that you have. And within 6 to 9 months through our 8-month program, we get people in a position where their score is in a way that they can be qualified for pretty much anything they need. Now, to the point of having a really strong offer, there's some extra stuff you have to do to be able to get to a conventional loan and things like that.
Had a question come in. It says, for a mortgage, there are three. I know there are 3 credit scores. What score do mortgage lenders use? That's a good one, actually.
Yeah.
I never heard that.
Do you guys know the answer?
Yes,
I do.
You know the
I think I
answer?
do.
You think you do? So basically, you drop the high score, you drop the low score, and you use the one that's left over.
Yeah,
Interesting.
It's called the mid score, but it's not.
it's not an average.
It's not an average. It's not the when you have the 3 side by side. It's not the middle one, right? I always explain.
Oh yeah,
Because a
That's
lot of
good
people
point.
are like, we use the mid score, and so the 3 are across the top, and they're like, it's the middle
Well, my
one.
lowest one is in the middle. Darn it.
Yeah, but no, it's not that.
Okay.
It's you drop the highest score, you
Drop
drop
the
the
lowest.
lowest
That's-
score, you use the one that's left over.
Use the one in the middle. Get a participation medal, Scott.
That's what I would say. When in doubt, take the one in the middle.
Oh, when in doubt it is. But sorry, Mike.
Well, I was just gonna say. So I mean, we're talking about all this stuff, right? Making earnest money non-refundable and like taking all these things out. It's just you really got to now trust your loan officer to make sure your loan's going to go through, and you really got to trust your real estate agent because leaning on your agent to say, hey, your agent goes to you, it's like, you got to, if you want a house, this checks all your boxes. You're going to have to go strong on this one because we're not going to find another one like this for several months, and as a first time home buyer, maybe you've only looked at a couple of houses. I mean, that's a big leap of faith right there. So it's never been more important to work with an agent that you trust and a loan officer you trust because you got all this stuff on the line and you don't have the time that you used to be able to mill it over and think about it.
And what would that number look like without a professional helping you? I mean, like, I have to bid over the asking price. So you used to be like, okay, that's what they want. That's what I pay.
Right.
Now you've got to decide how much over, and without the knowledge of, what that neighborhood looks like and what the prices are going. I mean, that's got to be a difficult decision for a consumer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, and what's crazy out there, like we talked about on the show last week. So I wrote 3 offers for 3 different clients. Basically, they were all the same offers, waived everything, $10,000 over top offer, a non-refundable earnest money, no inspection, appraisal gap. Didn't get any of the 3. How?
Yeah.
And that's where your buyers are like, what could possibly beat us? Cash could, relationship with an agent.
Yeah.
Because again, when we talk about on the show all the time, you look at price, you look at closing date, you look at ease of sale, where there's not going to be any problems. And and I'm guilty of it as well. If Ryan's writing on one of my deals, I know I'm not going to have any issues with Ryan. So if he's going to go to the number that the sellers want, I'm probably going to go with Ryan.
Hey guys, I had a question come in from Barry that says, a quick question. How important is it to keep one of your bathrooms having a tub versus all bathrooms with showers? How important is that? What do you think, Scott?
My thought is the master suite cannot have a tub in it, or what's hot right now is doing the basically the clawfoot tubs, but still having a big shower. But for a 2-story home, having a tub upstairs for the kids is important.
Troy, what do you think? You got a full house of how many? 6?
I have 7 kids.
Oh my
7
God.
kids. You gotta love this guy, by the way.
You need
7
3 tubs.
kids. He's selling. He's already got 6, 7 deals done this year. This guy's busy.
It definitely, you need a bathtub with all the dirt the kids come in with. Sometimes you just gotta dunk them in. Well needed. And my 3-year-old, she won't touch a shower. She wants to sit in there. She wants to play with her toys.
Yeah.
She wants to splash around. So a shower's out of the question. So if you have kids, a bathtub, you got to have one at least.
And what if you hurt yourself and you need to soak in some Epsom salt? How are you going to do that?
Epsom salt. I haven't heard Epsom salt. for
Actually, it's a really good question. I'm glad you bring that. You have to think about, again, who is your buyer pool? I mean, you're a father of 7, and you just said, look, we're not buying a house if it's got no tub, basically.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of something similar. I listed my in-laws house back in like 2001, and it was an incredibly gorgeous house. And when they were building it, they were only putting one sink in the master. And I said, guys, that is going to kill you when you go to sell it. And they're like, we only need one sink. And I said, yeah, I understand that you only need one sink, but buyers want dual sinks in the master. Well, they, went ahead and went through it. I think we had like 60 showings on it, and that was the feedback on every single one. Love the house, and there was no way to renovate it to get another sink in there. It was tight, and so that was the killer. And you think it's a small thing, but it killed the sale.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting. Each week, we also like to feature any listings with the Minnesota real estate team and Remax Advantage Plus. We've got a nice one, John Love, awesome agent on the team and outstanding appraiser. Scott, this one's in Jordan. It's 1700 Avalon Trail in Jordan. And it's an executive rambler. It's offered for the first time. It's on 5 acres that will please the nature lover, John says. 4-bed, 3-bath, almost 4,000 square feet. And you've got a very open concept as you walk into the living room, head into the large open kitchen dining area. 3 bedrooms on the main floor, home office, media room, large basement family and rec room with a wet bar. You've got a detached garden house and shed with an attached greenhouse. And John says, enjoy evenings on the deck or screen porch. $745,000 for that property down in Jordan, 5 acres. People are moving out, Scott.
They are. I've got one that's going on next week. It'll go coming soon on the 9th. It'll be live on the 11th. 18460 Pathfinder in Eden Prairie, in Settlers Ridge, which is an incredible development in Eden Prairie. It's going to be listed for $950,000, 6-bedroom, 5-bath, about 5,500 square feet. I won't go through all the features. You can imagine it's an incredible house. So look for that to go coming soon on the 9th and live on the 11th.
Very nice. And we appreciate, again, questions, comments throughout the show and folks joining us on social media. You can see a full room here today, whether you're looking on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. Thank you for joining us. Mike Dubs, we're already up against the 3/4 point, and we've got one final segment coming up. Going to be talking a little more with Brian Del Terzo, Credit Life, as well as Troy Hill on the Minnesota real estate team. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Troy, what do you think for the rest of the year? Are you anticipating a big year? I know we were talking and you said, look, Ryan, my goal is 10 million.
I'm shooting high. I definitely the higher I shoot, the harder I'm going to work. So, because I'm one of those people that I don't give up. If there's something that needs to get done, I'm going to do it. So if I give myself an insanely high goal, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. And if I don't, I'm going to get close.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. You were a long time general contractor.
I was. Yeah.
Talk about that business. What did you think of it?
It was fun. It lasted. It had a good run, and I learned a lot with it. And I've always liked, real estate in general, just the way things are built, the way things come out. But so that was part of the reason that kind of got me into real estate. Was once I got doing that for so long, I got into, buying and flipping houses. And then after a while, I was like, well, I'd rather just be on the inside of the real estate now. You get kind of tired of getting your hands dirty and coming home filthy. And I'm like, I want to come home clean, but I still want to make good money. And I still want to be able to, be inside houses and do things with houses. So, now it kind of benefits me now, because when I'm going through with some of these buyers now and they're thinking about skipping an inspection, I'm at least able to kind of give them an insight to, what they're looking at. I always tell them, don't take this as an inspection, but I'm going to give you my best honest opinion of what I think of this house. And even on a normal showing, when they're not even planning on it, I still point things out like, pay attention to this, notice that. I want to make sure that at the end of the day, they're happy with their decision. So just that construction past, helps me with what I'm doing now with my buyers. And I think, they appreciate it.
That's
Mhm.
a big thing.
It
You
is.
think
I was
about it.
thinking that's, you got to have that on your email signature.
Yeah.
I mean, that's super helpful.
Seriously, I mean, if I'm a buyer and I'm working with someone like Troy going through that, you have that knowledge. Because a lot of agents, I mean, I'm not great in construction. I'm not going to be able to comment on various things that well. I mean, I'll make a phone call,
Yeah.
but that's about it.
Like this, you've got this kind of truss up here, and
Right.
stuff like if you were thinking of putting an entertainment center in here, these things are going this way and not this way. There's a lot of insights you can give that not everybody would know.
So my first sale, literally in the business, 1998, was to a CEO that was a walk-in at Edina Realty, and so it was a $500,000 house, which back then was a ton. It was big house.
Yeah.
And I remember when it was on acreage, and he said, "So how's this mountain system work?" And I said, "Well, if you put the faucet to the left, you get cold water. If you put it to the right, you get hot."
Oh, no,
and it was
Scott.
like I had absolutely no idea, and so it was a learning. Obviously, I
What was
learned
the system?
a mountain system. So versus a gravity system or whatever.
Right.
And I had
Furnace.
No,
I wanted to see his response.
I have no idea what you're talking
I wanted to
about.
see his response.
Yeah, so it was. I had no idea.
Well, again, septic is a whole nother thing. Here, we're going back live on air.
I know where to put my furnace.
Welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope your weekend's going well, everybody. We want to bring a little sunshine, a little bit of fun and laughter. Scott was just talking about mound systems. And then it was asked furnaces, right, Scott?
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, we were just talking off air a little bit about, Troy has a contracting background, which is in this market incredibly good for your buyers, because if they're waiving an inspection, someone that has knowledge like Troy is a great buyer or great agent to work with. And it just reminded me of my first sale in the business was a acreage property, and my client was a CEO. It was a walk-in. So I was 27 years old and, didn't know my butt from third base. And so we were out looking at an acreage property, and he said, so how does this mountain system work? And I just said, well, if you put the faucet to the left, you get cold water. If you put it to the right, you get hot water. And then I learned about septic systems after that.
We had just real briefly. So this week at the convention, hung out a lot with Wendy Giles, who's up in Bemidji. She's a great agent. She's a broker owner of the Remax up there, and she was just talking about septic and how it's a whole nother thing to learn. The process, working as an agent, working with the county, all of these things. Troy, you're up in the north part of the cities. You had many septic deals so far?
I've had plenty.
Yeah.
They, some people don't realize you have certain cities that you can't sell a property without having a compliance inspection and it passing first.
Mhm.
And then there's others that they just don't care, but you need to find out. Otherwise you could end up selling a house and going through the whole process, waiting to close. And then you find out closing day, this house can't transfer because you didn't have a compliance inspection. So whenever you're dealing with something like that, you have to call that city first and say, what's your criteria as far as, compliance with septic.
Yeah, city and county. And I know, Mike, from a lending standpoint, that's a whole nother world, isn't it, for you guys, especially winter? People always say, how do you sell a house right now with septic? Septic and inspections middle of winter. How do you do it?
Yeah. So, if it's compliant, that's one thing, right? That's easy. If it's non-compliant, it depends on why is it non-compliant. So for example, I had one where they put an addition on and added a bedroom. Well, the old system was for a 3-bedroom house, not for a 4-bedroom house. And so now the septic system is just not compliant because it's not big enough to support this other bedroom. And so you can still lend on it. You can escrow money if in those certain situations to address the septic issue once the ground thaws out, once you can get a contractor in there to do it. If it's non-compliant and there's an imminent threat to health or safety because it's not protecting groundwater or, some other factors like that, then you can't get financing on that
Mhm.
property until that gets fixed because it's too much of a health or safety issue. So it's not necessarily a deal killer if you're getting a loan on a house and the septic system's non-compliant. It's just a matter of why is it non-compliant and then what can we do to address that?
And for listing agents out there, if you're listing a property with a septic system, it's nice if you just put the certificate in supplements, so that you don't have to go call the city and go through all of that. Just make it a process to put it out there so everybody has access to it.
Yep.
Yeah, we're talking all things real estate, mortgage related. Again, Brian Del Terzo with Credit Life is with us here today. Brian, before we forget, kind of last thoughts for folks as we head to the home stretch in the show, things for consumers to be aware of with your company and the great work you and Jared and your entire team are doing.
I guess creditlife.com if you want to check out what we're doing, CREDILIFE.com. But really, the important thing is to not abuse your available credit. It's become so convenient to use credit cards and the cashback rewards and all the things that you get from that. But putting a plan in place where you're not putting yourself at risk with abusing your revolving trade lines and running your cards up, if only for the fact that you're wasting money if you're paying interest. If you're using that too much and you get in a position that you're paying interest month over month, it's a waste. So just being really responsible for how you're managing your money, and your credit can follow. That's a long path. If you're being responsible with your money, your credit's going to reflect good credit habits, but you want to make sure you have some credit cards, some retail some retail cards, some type of an installment loan like an auto, and just manage it properly. And most importantly, keep your payments on time.
Yeah, what do you think, Mike? I know you got mortgage thoughts.
Yeah, so the sets Credit Life apart from the other ones is, anyone can send in dispute letters, templated letters, and you challenge this stuff, and it's just right. It's like a conveyor belt of credit repair. Really, what your credit score is, it's scoring your financial habits is what that is. And so if your habit is to have late payments and carry high balances and stuff, your score reflects that. What you guys do a really good job of is to identify, hey, here's your current habit, and we gotta change that. It's got to look like this, and then you work with them to put a plan together to change their habit. And once you change that habit for the right way, now your score comes with it. And now you have a good score for the rest of your life because you've changed your habits on that. So that's really what sets those guys apart.
Yeah, good
Thanks, Mike.
people. Good people. Yeah. Best way for people to reach you, by the way, there.
Definitely hitting up getting online at creditlife.com. You can also visit us in Facebook. We've got Credit Life on Facebook, and we've got some great groups out there providing education. And 800-576-4890, 800-576-4890 is our toll-free line, and we're available Monday through Friday from 8 to 6 p.m. to take calls. But we work a lot of it social media, so we can help people any way they want to be helped.
And again, it's Creda without a T.
Without the T.
CrediLife.com.
Thanks,
but they work with just a number of great local real estate brokers, teams, very well respected in our market here. So awesome job as always. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Scott, what do you think? What do you think of Troy Hill here? Troy, we're heading into the home stretch. Again, we were talking off air. Your goal is 10 million this year. A lot of deals. You've already gotten a lot of them done. Any thoughts for people in this market to buyers, sellers, best advice for people?
Yeah, I think for especially for the buyers, I think they just need to be educated as to how the market is and what they're getting into before they start looking at their houses. I mean, if you're approved for $400,000, look at houses that are $350,000. Don't look at a $400,000 house because you're not going to get it for $400,000. You got to look well below what you're going to think you're going to pay. Your expectations got to be a lot lower because you're not going to get the top of your budget for that price. And I think they just need a better understanding of that.
That's hard.
It is hard, but you're exactly right. I mean, I've got groups in different price ranges, but that's exactly what we're doing. If it's a $400,000 buyer, we're looking $325,000, $335,000 to be able to stay at $4. And so far we haven't been able. They've gone over. And as you move up in price, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, it becomes a different animal. I mean, you're not dealing with 15, 20 offers. You might be dealing with 2 or 3. But when you're down under that 500 price point, it's tough sledding.
Yeah, it is tough sledding. Mike, what are you seeing this year to date for activity for purchases compared to last year at this time? Are you guys down? Are you guys up? Is it about the same activity wise?
Applications wise, we're 26% higher for purchase applications this year than last year.
Wow.
Actual closings, we're down like 30%.
Yeah.
And so it's just a testament. There's a lot of buyers out there, a lot of pre-approved buyers. There's people already there. It's just a matter of finding a house.
Yeah,
So-
that is, and that's probably again industry wide. Talking to mortgage folks right now, some interesting numbers again that we were sharing at the beginning part of the show. Scott, what do you think for the year? Do you think? I'll just real briefly comment. I think 2022 is going to be just as good and busy of a year. I think it's going to start to open up in the spring, summer, and fall. It's just right now an incredibly frustrating time. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a duplicate of last year. I mean, remember last year at this time, it was the same thing. There's 20, 30 offers on everything. Prices kept going up, blah, blah, blah. And we'd said, look, we're going to have an extremely busy fall because eventually the market's going to push back. And I think we're going to have a duplicate of that. People are going to get frustrated through June. They're going to pull back. They're not going to write for the numbers they have to write at. And I think we're going to have a little slide back in, August, September, and October, where, you can actually buy a house where you've been losing out on. One thing I was going to mention for people out there, if you have a house that backs to a busy road, where in a normal market, you can't sell it, or you're going to sell it for a number that you don't want to sell your house for. And you know who you are. So if you have a house that backs to a busy road, you can sell your house right now.
Sell it now.
Yeah, you can literally. I showed one yesterday that was right on Diamond Path. I mean, you could take 3 steps and be on Diamond Path, and there were already 7 offers on it. It was on the market for 4 hours. So again, if you've been frustrated in markets before because you can't sell your house because you're back to a highway or you're back to a busy road or whatever, you can sell right now. And Troy would be happy to help you.
I would definitely be happy.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. It's been a fun show. We're already at the home stretch. Mike, best way for people to connect with you and your awesome mortgage team?
Yep. Applywithmike.com. Very easy website to go to. You can connect with us there 24/7. You can also go to the Minnesota Real Estate Show page, and there's a direct link to us there too.
Great job, buddy.
Thank you, Ryan.
Troy, best way for people to contact you, bud?
By phone, 763-313-4011, 763-313-4011, or Troy at mnrealestateteam.com.
Great job, buddy. 10 million. Here we come.
It's coming.
2022. Brian, nice job, buddy. Credit Life. We appreciate you
Yeah.
and Jared. You guys are a great partner.
Thanks. We appreciate you guys too.
Scott, last thoughts?
Just don't get frustrated. Plug in with your agent. Eventually, you'll get a house. Just keep going at it. And again, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, it was a fun show, everybody. Appreciate it. mnrealestateshow.com. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back next Saturday at 10 a.m. Take care, everybody. Thanks for so many who watched the entire stream with us. Great to have you with us. We'll be back again next Saturday. If you ever have any questions, comments, or topics you want us to touch on, let us know. But we'll sign off for now. And thanks again. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.